All right, so a lot of people want to say, I want to learn the way of the samurai, the way of this, the way of that. And the teacher wants to show you, you want to learn someone to show you the way. Okay, and right now going to the camera, we just talked about how there's certain mistakes I see in swordsmanship that I don't generally correct unless I have to, simply because I know that if they just do the training and they do the repetition and they stay dedicated to it, it's going to fix itself. Because there's certain key principles that we do or you should do, and if you get the student good at basics, then it will correct itself. If you guys go to an individual and say, I want to learn how to paint, they're going to show you the different kind of brushes, the different paints, how you can mix this with this. Once you learn that, they say, okay, this is how you paint here, like even calligraphy. You know, you do the kanji for nin. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 brush strokes to make up the kanji nin, just like there are 7 traditions that we have. And I can go on about why we have the 7. But the concept, you learn them by numbers, okay? Once you actually learn from the master, you start learning your own way. You still grab the same brush that they told you to. You still do it in the same order they told you to. You still use the same color they told you to. You're not making up your own color. You're not making up your own 1, 2, 3, 4. But the way that you move your wrists, the way that you put the brush on the paper, maybe the way that you move your elbow is different than the master. But same strokes of the calligraphy, same brush, same paint, same order. That's why I'm so against these first degree masters that they never been in a fight in their life. They want to tell you guys about discipline, right? These first dan masters, but they can't discipline themselves, and they create their own thing off of what was already there to begin with. You catch what I'm saying? Because the way is not creating your own shit. That isn't the way. The way is you making it yours. It's still what it is. The classical kata is that. Do you guys understand what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So you should be able to look at someone, if they're making the kanji nin, everyone's going to make it different. Like if everyone writes your first name, all of us is going to write his first name and it's going to look different. But we're all going to write it in the same letters. We're all going to use the same tools, and it's all going to say the same thing, and it's all going to be in the same order. But it will all look slightly different. That aspect, that is the way. Not, oh shit, I got a first degree black belt, so now I'm going to go make up my own shit. You know what I mean? That ain't the way. That's fucking greedy. That's having no discipline. That's having no dedication, no loyalty to what you're doing. That's not martial arts. You guys catch the concept?
Yes.
So think about that when you're training. Are you doing the points that you should be doing? Are you doing it in the correct way so that you can grow? If you don't do it in the correct way, you won't grow from it. How many of you guys out here decided one day you're like, I want to get some muscle. I want to pack on muscle. I want to go to the gym. I want to get some pecs and some shoulders and triceps. I want to be, I'm sure maybe not all of you, but definitely some of the dudes out there, right? You know, you guys all want to get big. And then you go in there and you lift the weights, you lift heavy, and then 4 to 6 weeks later, 8 weeks later, 10 weeks later, you're not any damn bigger than what you were than when you started. Probably because you did your own thing. You didn't do it in the way to get the result that you wanted, right? You read a muscle fitness magazine, you get on Twitter, you see these guys are bodybuilding experts, Arnold Schwarzenegger motivation videos, which are great, but it ain't the way. You just did something that you thought would work, and then you never get the result. It's like, how many times do we got to see Bob? And Bob makes his own martial art, and Bob's got a big old fat ass, and he can't even keep himself healthy. Yet he's going to say, I'm going to teach you martial arts, and he's going to talk about discipline, but he can't stop his fat ass from eating a cheeseburger. Like, explain to me how that fucking works. And then the only thing everyone got a problem with me is because I'm transgendered. That's it. Everyone hates me because of my gender, because of my lifestyle. So they make fun of my martial arts. When my martial arts, flat out, I'll say it to the fucking world, I'm right. And 99% of the people out there teaching are lying, they're full of shit, and they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They can't do what they claim to do. I can do every fucking thing I claim to do. There are a million ways to skin a cat. I'm not saying that my way is the only way. So I want to get this, because you guys do hear me say, stay dedicated to this, do this, follow this path, do it this way. Because that is the way I learned it, and that is the way that I found it to be right. My way works because it worked. That's the way my master taught it to me. That's why I'm teaching to you, right? So the way works. There are more than one way. I found that jumping off the beaten path and saying, well, I want to do Kempo for 6 weeks, and then I'm going to do Jujutsu for 6 weeks, I'm going to do a 10-week course in Krav Maga, and then, oh, there's a free trial lesson in Taekwondo for 2 weeks, and hop, skip, jumping the fuck around never worked for me. I don't see how that can get you there. Now, some people would argue and say that's the way to go. Okay. And for those people watching the video where you guys do your, completely free and let's go 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there, and a year here, a year there, first degree this, green belt in this, and blue belt in this, and all this kind of stuff. Thank you guys for your views. Thank you guys for your subscriptions. I got 50 plus DVDs. I've wrote 6 books and a lot more coming. So take everything I have, buy it, and then use it the way you want to use it. But you're not going to be my student, because I'm not going to take a student that can't be dedicated to me. And I think a lot of teachers in the martial arts, the problem is most teachers, they're not dedicated themselves. Like I talk about Bob and his big old fat ass. Why would Bob give a shit if you go off and do Kempo with this person and Jiu-Jitsu with this person, as long as you're paying for Kung Fu over here? So all Bob gives a shit is that you're paying for your lessons. He doesn't care about you. If he gave a shit about you, then he wouldn't want to do that. How many of you guys have parents? How many of your parents said, you know what? I can't parent you good. So I want you to go to their parents and their parents and their parents, and then I'll parent you. That's absurd, isn't it? Isn't that fucking ridiculous? How many people of you guys ever followed a certain religion, right? You probably went to church. We've all went to a church. So you go to that church, and do you really have, when have you ever went to a church, a temple, whatever, and you get, or coven, or whatever it is you practice, and you go there, head priestess, preacher, minister, pastor, whatever it is, says, you know what? This is going to work for you. But I also want you to do Baptist and Methodist and Judaism and Muslim and pagan and Sikh and Druidry, and because then you really get good. Like, when the fuck did that ever happen? Has anybody who's ever attained a level of mastery say that? Never. The only people that say that are the people that never attain mastery. And I know you guys hear me beat on Bruce Lee's fucking ass all the time. And I will give the man credit for he's one of the biggest inspirations in the world of martial arts. I will never take that from him. But where he fucked up, massively fucked up, is because he let the world hear certain words. Take what works, leave out the rest. That's great. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Take what works, leave out the rest. It sounds innocent enough, doesn't it? But then when he says that in the United States of America, which is the most laziest, fat, obese country in the fucking world, there's a problem now. Because the people that listen to it are fat, lazy, and obese. Take what works, leave out the rest. Well, how do they know what works? They're not going to train long enough to make it work. Because you got these big ass, overweight, out of shape martial artists that are not dedicated to the way. Do you understand what I'm saying? Another thing you see why people don't hit mastery, it's not because of the dedication aspect. Most people are just fucking lazy. How many of you guys seen people come and go in the Hanbu? Because they can't do push-ups, sit-ups, and squats. Think about how ridiculous that is. A push-up is pushing your weight off the floor. If you can't push your own ass off the fucking floor, how can you push someone bigger than you off of you? You can't. But how many times have we seen people come in the Hanbu, they can't fucking take it, and they become black belts at something else? Fuck yeah. And then you watch them and you're like, that is shit. Or, yeah, that's push-ups, sit-ups. You gotta do a sit-up to get your ass up out of fucking bed every morning. And unless you're just fucking lazy like a goddamn walrus and you roll the fuck over. I'm not in the goddamn mentality of teaching you guys to roll the fuck over. I'm saying sit the fuck up. Do you know what I mean? Yep. So how fucking hard is it to say do a goddamn sit-up? Get your fucking ass up. Do something with yourself. Y'all watching the video can hate me all you want. You don't like me because I'm transgendered. You don't like me because I'm a witch. You don't like me because I'm married to a woman. I'm married to a black woman with mixed kids, and I'm a transgender woman. That's fine. You don't have to like my personal life. But you ain't gonna fucking, there's no way in the hell you can tell me that I'm not one of the best in the world at what I do. I never one time ask any of my students to have the lifestyle that I leave. That absolutely never. I told you guys I'm gonna teach you martial arts and take what I'm teaching and apply it to your life. Because there's an old saying by Confucius, if you mimic the master, you die. If you get inspired by the master, you live. I don't want any one of you guys to do or live your life the way I live my life. Because my life ain't your life. But if you get inspired by the way I stand up to the world and say, fuck all you lazy asses that are not dedicated, not loyal, jumping the fuck around and bowing down to 25 fucking teachers, you know what I mean? if you get inspired by the way I do things, and you take that and put it in your life, now you can live, now you can succeed. But if you mimic everything I do, you fail. And we've seen that too. We've seen upper level black belts. In this dojo, when you watch them move when they do techniques, they're not here anymore. One in particular, he moved exactly like I moved. He did everything exactly like I did it, because he couldn't find his own way. He didn't know what he wanted in his own life. And now look at him. He's miserable. And he's not here. Do you know what I mean? So you have the reason martial arts is in a shitty place, and that's why you guys are the one that's going to help. You guys are going to help me show the world what it's supposed to be like. I'm not the only, there are lots of people out there that teach martial arts that are really good. There are, I'm not the only one. There are a ton of them. The problem is, there are millions of martial art teachers, and 90% of them are absolute shit. So they physically bounce around because they can't physically take it. So they constantly do something easy. Once it gets hard, they move. Oh, the first degree black belt test was hard. The second degree will be harder. Can't do that. It's like the people that have a whole bunch of associate's degrees. You guys watching the camera, do you think 3 associate's degrees makes a master? You know what I mean? I go to the community college and I get an associate's in liberal arts. I go to the community college, I get an associate's in English. Community college, I get associate's in a business. Associate's degree is great, but 3 associate's degrees does not make a goddamn master. Your pay grade is the same. A master is a master license. Do you follow me on that? So why would someone, have you guys ever seen that? Someone brags about they have 5 associate degrees? No, but everyone brags they got 5 first degree black belts. Like, what the fuck? There's usually, I got an associate's in this, I have a bachelor's in this, I have a master's in this, a PhD in this, or they have associates in this, or they go to a trade school. I went to a trade school. I'm a personal trainer by trade, which is it's a certificate, so it's equivalent to like an associate's degree, like a 2-year, right? It's in there like heating and cooling, personal training, hair and nails. It's in that kind of, you know. If I try to go to a gym and get a job, and all I have a certificate as a personal trainer, they're gonna pay me like I have a 4-year degree from Kansas University in kinesiology. Because I don't. Do you know what I mean? The martial artists want to do that shit all the time. So they always quit because they're not dedicated. You can't physically take it. So, got my first degree in Kempo. Fucking shit's getting hard. I'm gonna go do Aikido. Now, the Y has Goju-Ryu. Let's do that. I know a friend that has Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We'll go do that. Yeah? So that's one reason. The second reason is no dedication and loyalty to the tradition or the school. And this is another 50% of it. It's expensive. Martial arts is expensive. And this is the part of the video that hopefully you guys listen to me on this one too, because a lot of you guys watching the video need to hear the shit. Martial arts teaching was never made to be for free. I know you see it in the Chinese movies, and then you got Danielson waxing the floor, right? But those are movies. If you look at it historically, the people that really taught it, they were in a temple, they were of royalty, they were part of the military class. They were either dying for it or they are paying for it, right? Now, this is not a sales pitch. I'm telling you about what it comes down to. When you start training, you have to take care of your teacher. We don't live in an age where you can shuck my corn, you can egg my chickens, and you can go kill a pig for me, right? We don't live in that era where you can make possum stew for my ass because we saw something fucking critter run across the fucking road. We live because for me to live, I need to make money. And everyone, you always like this idea of like, oh shit, talk about money in martial arts, that's taboo. Why? You pay for every other thing you learn. You pay for every other service. You pay for every other form of fun in your life, education. You pay to learn how to do heating and cooling. You pay to go, you know what I mean? So my point is, another reason you see the hop skip, let's say Bob gets a first degree. Well, he's gonna have to pay more to get to second. So if you don't do that, what ends up happening, right, ultimately, is you see a lot of this down at the bottom stuff again. They never get there because they don't do that. And you wonder where I come up with that. So this is the analogy, because on the internet, I get a lot of you guys tasking me, hey, can I come in and clean the dojo floor? Can I mow your yard? Can I work for you and you can teach me for free? I get that shit all the time. Let me tell you something. I've told all of you guys the same fucking thing. Go get a goddamn job. First degree black belt test is gonna cost this. Go work and then pay for it. If you're so willing to clean my floor, mow my grass, walk my dogs, clean the fucking house, water it down and all this shit, then you should be willing to get a part-time job at McDonald's, flip some fucking burgers, and then pay for what it is that you need to pay for. Because at the end of the day, it's still responsibility. It's still learning to work for what it is that you want. The problem is, here's a statistic for you. In 2000, right, the year 2000, there was a statistic. People, 50% of the kids between 18 and 24 had a job. 50% did not have a job. They weren't working. They're not part of the working class. In 2018, last year, 31% had a job. Which means basically 70% of the people between 18 and 24 don't even have a fucking job. But what do they all want? A handout. They want something free. They want someone to give them something, but they ain't willing to work for it. I've never seen a McDonald's that ain't got a help wanted sign. So for you guys to keep asking me the goddamn question, hey, can I do this? No. Now, if someone did need, if I did give someone that, I can promise you that they are part of the Hambu and they've been busting their ass for years, and then I help them out. But all you guys on the internet keep asking that damn question. Stop the bullshit. If you want something, go work for it. If it ain't worth it for you to put in a little hard work, then I don't need you as a student.